In this video, we are going to be looking at the best irons for every type of golfer. Where on this scale do you sit, and are you going to agree with my choices? This video is going to give you the information you need to understand if you're using the best sets currently, and also if you're going to get a new set of irons, what might be best for your game. And please stay tuned because, oh my, we have some absolutely fantastic irons to show you. For this video, I have teamed up with my good friends at Golf Bidder, the finest purveyors of second-hand clubs on the internet. They have thousands of used clubs on their website for you to peruse, and it is from their warehouse that I have pulled today's selections. If you want to check out Golf Bidder, make sure you head down into the description below. There is a link that you can click. Now, I've used handicap here as a measure of how well golfers strike the ball. There will be some outliers, but I'm sure that you get the general idea. So first up, let's go to the 25 plus handicap end of the scale. This is all about maximum forgiveness and getting the ball up in the air. My choice for this section of the bag are these absolute beasts, the Cobra T-Rail combo iron set. Now, there's a number of irons which focus on super game improvement and ease of use. You've got the Wilson launch pads or the Cleveland Launcher HDs. They're hollow headed and large, so they perform like a fairway would or a hybrid. Simply put, they launch very high and go a very long way. This might be the one for me. But the most important thing with these irons is on off-center strikes, they do things like this. Now that was struck from the heel, pretty much on the shaft, and it has finished pin high. These little rails on the sole of the club allow it to glide easily through all types of turf, and have actually been around for ages. I remember using these on a Baffler fairway I had back as a junior in 1879. These clubs, especially when paired up with a lightweight shaft like this, are fantastic if you have a slower swing speed, because you don't need to put quite as much effort in to still get really good results. So even though these irons sit at this far end of the scale, there are actually probably a lot of golfers that might benefit more towards the middle as well. Now let's have a look at the irons which are suited to golfers in the 25 to 18 handicap range. For this section of the scale, I have selected the Titleist T300 irons. Now, golfers in this section of the scale will be slightly better ball strikers. However, they are still going to need some forgiveness. And that is where a cavity bag with a little bit more of a traditional shape comes into its own. Now, the T300s fit this description perfectly. They offer much of what the Cobras do, but in a way more compact package. It has a polymer core to make this iron sound a little bit more solid, like a player's iron, rather than the huge ping that the Cobra T-Rail delivers. It has quite a long blade length, and this increases MOI, and there's loads of tungsten smashed over into the toe to keep the CG exactly where you'd want it. The reason I like the T300 is it's a decent sized cavity back iron, but what Titleist do really well is they hide a lot of the technology. So as you put it down behind the ball, it doesn't look huge. It actually looks like a really nice iron. But within this section of the scale, there are so many good choices out there. But the T300 is definitely one of them. These next irons for the 18 to 10 handicap range are very good. They are, of course, Mizuno. For me, this range of golf clubs between an 18 and a 10 handicap has seen the biggest improvement within my lifetime. In some respects, it's actually quite easy to make a massively huge forgiving club or to make a really small forged blade. But to actually get something in the middle that players are going to want to use, that's slightly trickier. It's been pushed forward by manufacturers creating irons that, when looked down from at address, appear to be a solid construction and a better player's club. However, the center of these clubs has a hollow design which delivers faster ball speeds and forgiveness. These Mizuno Pro 225s, they are just lovely looking and feeling. Other famous clubs in this kind of range with that kind of design, we're talking about the TaylorMade P790s, we're talking about ping irons, the forged cavity. But a forged Mizuno is always a beautiful thing. It's like hitting a knob of butter with a pillow. The reason I like these irons so much is that they allow a whole category of golfers to enjoy the feeling of a forged golf club without swearing blind on a cold December morning as they thin one across the green. Now you might think that these are my favourite irons within this review, but you'd be wrong. Sliding down the scale from 10 to 5 handicap, we have the incredible Nike Vapor Pro combo irons. So Nike don't bring out golf clubs anymore after consistently not making any money. However, they did begin to create some good clubs near the end, including these. The Pro Combo style is something which has also been copied by other manufacturers. A more bladed muscle back design in the shorter irons, which look like a better player's model, and then the longer clubs get a little bit deeper with a slightly thicker top line. There's also a small hidden cavity in these clubs, which was filled with the same material that Nike were using in their balls before they stopped making balls. As mentioned, many brands will offer sets like this or mixed sets, but also some of the very best players in the world, tour pros, have a more cavity back design in their long irons and blades in the shorter clubs. And these irons have established a little bit of a cult following. I was actually really surprised that we could get them off the Golf Bidder website. I can almost guarantee that as soon as we send them back, they will be snapped up within a day. Oh, strike. Something else that I can also guarantee is that you will shoot your best ever score during your next round if you become a subscriber to the channel. And finally, we reach the end of the scale. Now there is room for maneuvering. Obviously, some of the higher handicapper golfers will be able to use some of the better player irons, while some of the lower handicapper golfers would be able to slide up and still benefit. But if you are looking for a super sleek set of blades, then the Callaway Apex MB21s are actually legit. Forged with a traditional thin top line, refined sole and a compact blade length, they are the player's player iron. There is a weight port here for fine tuning the center of gravity and club weighting, but honestly, these clubs are only slightly about the tech. In truth, what we're looking at when we get to this type of blade is a club which adds a bit of artistry, a club which makes you feel special. It's also a club that looks absolutely tiny behind the ball, especially when you compare it to one of the Cobras. However, if you strike it well, there is absolutely no better feeling in golf than absolutely middling a forged iron. But these irons will not offer any forgiveness, and that's why they're at this end of the scale. If you are even slightly concerned about your ball striking, then in reality, these are the types of clubs you should probably stay away from. So obviously the most important thing about today is what you think of my selection. So get down into the comments and let me know. And obviously a massive thank you to Golf Bidder for providing me with these clubs. One of the biggest mistakes that I see golfers make is simply not getting irons that are forgiving enough. We all hit bad shots out the heel and out the toe, and there's no shame in that. So if you do struggle with strike, even a little bit, have a look at something like the Cobras. Even though they do look a little bit strange, they offer so much forgiveness and potentially more enjoyment. And right down the other end of the scale where these blades sit, only look at getting these if you are a very consistent ball striker. Because if you're not, the chances are that even though they look incredibly beautiful, they'll actually probably cause you a little bit more pain in the long run.